What is up, everyone? Welcome to the week. Hold on, let me check. Week 18 edition of the Fantasy Points matchup. That's right. Matchup live stream. That's what it's called. I'm John Hansen. Ben Kukanis doing all kinds of fancy things here with our little interface. We are live on YouTube right now, and we're actually trying out for the finale here a different software setup here. It seems to be going pretty well. That's Adam Caplan over there. It's Greg Cosell. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. I'm sure these guys are doing well, and they're having a very happy new year thus far. Mr. C, we're gonna lean on you big time here.
Good luck. Well, let me get my dartboard. Okay, this team is going to play their guys a period and a half. All right, go ahead.
No, you said it says NFL Insider on your LinkedIn page.
It does.
So
do I have one?
I don't know. I'm not a LinkedIn guy. But it says it somewhere.
That's where the life coaches are, by the way, on LinkedIn. If you need a life coach, go to LinkedIn. Just letting you know that.
Yeah, no, I have not done LinkedIn. You're on LinkedIn, though, aren't you?
I am. You're not missing much. You're not.
Exactly. All right, well, let's get into it here. Let's, without any further ado, not waste any more time. KC Denver kicks off, and then Adam, we can go right to you here with the Denver Bronco secondary injuries here, looking pretty darn good for the KC offense.
Yeah, Surtain and Darby are out, so that crushes their depth. CEH out for the Chiefs, which is what I expected to begin of the week. They lost Lucas Niang, who was playing left tackle. I think he filled it for Brett.
Yeah, he filled left tackle last week. Yes, he did. He got hurt on the second possession. He got hurt.
Yeah, and he tore his patella, so he's done till the summer. It's a tough one.
I mean, this is brutal here. Kareem Jackson, Ronald Darby, Surtain, all out. And Greg, you've seen Mahomes recently, and he's kind of settled into a pretty decent place. Much less second reaction, big plays, more dink and dunk, and being a little bit more patient. But on film, he seems to be playing pretty well. Greg,
I would say that's fair. The difference is, it's funny. After I watched that tape, I looked up some numbers just out of curiosity. And the big explosive plays, he's still near the top of the league in terms of 20-plus yard completions. But the one stat that's about a yard lower than his first 3 seasons is yards per attempt. And I know there's a lot of coaches that focus on that particular metric, John, as you know.
Yeah, I do. For my work all the time. Big time.
That's the metric that is low, much lower. And I would say their offense does look different. But he's become much more of an executor and ball distributor. The ball's coming out quick. The focus has been much more over the last month on the short to intermediate pass game. You're seeing fewer second reaction movement plays. I think when he does move now, it's very calculated and it's efficient and not random and unnecessary. So I would say he's actually playing pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly seems that way, just watching the games play out here in real time and all that. And Darrell Williams is going to be the guy again. And I believe he was RB1 last week. So obviously we're going to use him. He was a top fantasy producer of the week, I believe. He was top 3 for sure. And for Denver, Greg, Drew Lock has not done well in this matchup. I mean, he is a tough evaluation, right? I mean, it's just probably a tough watch. I guess sometimes some matchups he seems to do well against some coverages, Greg, but over the whole, you take everything into account, and he's probably like impossible to handicap, basically. I feel
and I did not watch him this week, just so you know, but my guess is he's not a whole lot different than he's been. I remember evaluating him coming out of Missouri, John, and you and I discussed this. I think it might even have been last night. I start to lose track of the days here. As I have a senior moment here and there.
Yeah, we all do.
I'm waiting for Caplan to jump in here. With something.
You've already given it away, so I can't do it.
Yeah. So he had the issue of drifting to his left and opening up to his left in college, and to me, based on conversations I've had with many, many quarterback coaches over the years, that's a fixable and correctable thing, but it's still not fixed. So I can't speak to whether it's attempted to be fixed by coaches or whether it's just the way he is and he can't quite fix it. But it causes some issues in accuracy, and we know that he can be a little scattershot at times.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, he's had a modicum of success, against the Chargers, but not much, and not much against the Chiefs as well. So, I mean, use these guys at your own risk. They're going to play at least Noah Fant.
They have a lot to play for. The Chiefs do. They want the number 1 seed, though it's highly unlikely that the Texans will lose twice to the Texans. Right. But yes.
Yeah, and then Javonte Williams, this knee, Adam, has got to be he looks okay. It doesn't look like the blocking's any good. It looks like teams are kind of like, defending them better with Locke in there versus Teddy B. But clearly, this knee has got to be an issue here, Adam. It's been like 4 straight weeks, and the production continues to decline here for Javonte.
Remember, they're down 2 linemen, Risner and however you say Reisner.
He's getting blown up on almost every play here.
Yeah, Reisner and Glasgow are done. So and Bobby Matt. So we're down 3 starting linemen. Massey's back today. He came off the COVID list, so maybe he'll play. But yeah, you're missing 3 starters. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it is. And Drew Lock's not really checking it down much to the back, so that's another problem. Teddy's a much better check down guy. Cowboys, Eagles, and well, Adam, Philadelphia in the playoffs. Do they want to play some healthy guys, for a quarter or so to gain some momentum for the postseason?
I would expect some. I can't say all, because this is, first of all, don't forget, the 12 players were put on the COVID list on Monday are still, as we speak, Thursday night, on the COVID list. Yeah. Now, by the revised protocols, they could still be brought off the list even on Saturday morning. They test out. But you got to be careful, because you don't know how these guys are going to feel. You and I have learned that, John, as we've spoken for this season. So there's sometimes we just don't know how these guys are going to feel, and they wind up not playing a lot, or they don't feel right and don't play very well. So I would not play any of them. I just wouldn't take any chance, because the Eagles can move up from the 7th to the 6th seed. I don't know if that means anything to them.
Yeah,
there's certainly, because they don't have a great offense, you'd like to keep their timing going. But there's some risk there, so I would be shocked if they play more than a quarter. I would be stunned.
All right. Well, let's say Boston Scott and Howard are out, and Miles Sanders is out. I mean,
Sanders is definitely out. You don't have to worry about that.
Do you feel fairly confident, at least, that it would be Kenny Gainwell, or could
Gainwell and
Kerryon Johnson?
Yep. Kerryon Johnson, Gainwell, and they've got Jason
Huntley.
Yes, who's just a changeup. That's really all he is.
Yeah. So not a lot of fantasy juice here, obviously. No. Maybe Gainwell, though. Maybe.
Could be. This is a great opportunity for them to get an extended look at him, and I'd like to see him catch the ball a little bit too.
Any idea, Greg or Adam, either one, what happened to Kenny Gainwell? Because did he get in the doghouse, or did just Boston Scott just perform better? Like, he was a factor early on, and obviously his role is very minimal here, second half.
Remember, though, they only like a 2-man backfield. They've been pretty consistent with it. Usually only 2 guys play. The third guy's on special teams. That's kind of what they do every week.
Okay.
With it.
And then the Cowboys, Adam, again, to you, low stakes game for them. I can't imagine they'll play Zeke, maybe Dak for a series or 2, because he's been off. But any thoughts there?
No, they have something to gain. I mean, they could
have something to play for, John.
Yeah, they have a lot more than the Eagles do. But on your point, Tyron Smith, the couple guys aren't going to play. Tyron Smith is on the COVID list, so he's not going to play. Anthony Brown's on the COVID list. Parsons on the COVID list. They already said Parsons won't even make the trip. Even if he gets clarity, they're not going to bring him. So what's their motivation? Yeah, they could move up a little bit.
Not much. I mean, they're kind of locked into the 4 seed.
Well, listen, if the teams above them lose, if the Rams, and they have a tiebreaker over one of them, but Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy kind of talked about it. Because they didn't play well last week, they want to get their timing down. They want to feel good about how they're heading into the playoffs. But I'm sort of with you. I don't expect them to play a whole lot.
And Greg, maybe they want to get Dak out there for a couple of series because, again, granted, the O-line has not been good. Their running game has been, over the last 6 weeks or so, I would argue their running game is one of the worst in the league.
It is.
And Dak it's not really physical. It seems to be mental still.
Well, they're in a very interesting spot. Teams obviously do not want to get anyone hurt when they're getting ready to go into the playoffs. And I guess that is the number one priority, no question. but they're not playing particularly well on offense right now. So, right now to go into the playoffs without having some sense of success offensively and with a pass game, the run game has been a non-factor for weeks, John. You're correct. So their offense right now is struggling a bit. They had that good half against Washington 2 weeks ago, but right now it's an offense trying to find its way. There's no consistent run game. Prescott has struggled too often, both mentally and with ball location. So again, you have to weigh the balance between how do we feel going into the playoffs and do we want to go out there and at least have some success with what we do?
I mentioned that I think you mentioned it too, but I actually noticed it myself that they're not getting any blocking from their tight ends at all. Apparently I read later on, they were talking about they missed Blake Jarwin. I didn't realize Blake Jarwin was a good blocker.
Yeah.
But I read that, Adam, for one of the beat writers was like, yeah, they really missed Blake Jarwin blocking. I was like,
well,
really?
he started working this week, so he's got an outside chance to be activated and play a minor role.
Pittsburgh and Baltimore, starting with Baltimore. Again, no Lamar today. So, I mean,
he's not playing.
He ain't playing.
He didn't practice nearly a month.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So there's how his final year of his rookie deal, right, ends this year.
Yep.
That's not great. And then, Huntley was serviceable for sure, leaning on Mark Andrews wisely and does throw it to Bateman and, Hollywood a little bit. But for the Steelers, Deontay Johnson, again, I don't expect you to be a COVID expert here, Adam. I haven't checked the latest machination of the protocol, but is there a chance
if he's vaccinated? Yes, only if he's vaccinated.
Right.
If not, he can't play. Here's their problem. They've got Hayden on it. They've got Johnson on it, and Kendrick Green, their center, the rookie center. Though the Hassenauer kid filled in from last week because he has a calf injury. So, but the big one's Deontay. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, this is not good. Certainly, if no Deontay, that then Big Ben's final game, he's going to throw it to Claypool and Freiermuth and little Ray McLeod. And actually, there was a game I believe Deontay didn't play, and it was like Najee Harris had that big game.
He looked good. I thought he looked good in that game Monday night.
Yeah. Greg, I guess you have not seen much of Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and really not much to get to there. Ravens.
Well, obviously, Najee Harris had the big game, but their pass game, we don't need to discuss the Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's sickening to watch it. It's
my God,
really bad.
Yeah, really bad.
I mean, I the only question I would have is it just because we saw this last year for almost the entire season? Is it just they don't trust Roethlisberger's arm, or is it this? I can't imagine Matt Canada wants to run this offense like they're doing it, but maybe Roethlisberger can't throw anymore.
Big Ben, for what it's worth, has always been kind of like a non-workout guy, right? I mean, let's be real.
Well, we don't know that, but yeah, I mean,
in terms of his weight, though, his weight fluctuates, from year to year. But I was surprised because talking to some people who would know, his arm looked better in training camp than it did last year coming off the surgery.
Yeah,
but man, it's crazy. He had like 35 attempts and 89 yards.
I think that's my theory. Because we've always kind of. That's always been intimated. The Big Ben's not a big off-season workout monster, it means he ain't Tom Brady. He also looks 10 years older than Tom Brady out there, but we digress. We move on. Bengals, Browns. I mean, who the hell is going to suit up for the Bengals is my question.
They're taking this game like they don't care.
Yeah. This game, it's probably not even worth it, John.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you an idea of. I'll just give you an idea.
Brandon Allen, Travion Williams, perhaps.
Chris Evans,
Stanley Morgan,
Chris
Evans,
Mike Thomas,
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans,
Mike Thomas, and if Auden Tate, who just came back from the COVID list, could play, he'll play.
Yeah,
that'll be it.
Yeah, that'll be it. Case Keenum for the Browns.
Yep.
Are they gonna? We always focus on the offensive side of the ball, but they'll probably rest defensive guys too. Obviously.
The Bengals, and they also have a couple guys. Ogunjobi went on the list today. So did another defensive player for them went on the COVID list. Oh, yeah, Trey Henderson's on it. Vaughan Bell's on it.
Oh, my God.
This is going to be a massacre.
By the way, not for nothing, but I know they've been given love, but How great of a job did they do in free agency? I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, Henderson's been just that was the question when they gave him that big contract. Could he live up to it? Because he was sort of a 1-year player. They got it right. Give him credit. You and they've got they're gonna have a couple. They're gonna play the young kids. Deontay Smith back from injured reserve. He'll play. Trey Hill play. It's good. They're gonna treat it like a preseason game. Despite the ability to move up in the seedings, they don't care. They just want to be healthy. That's where they go.
Speaking of healthy, we want Nick Chubb to be healthy. Limited with this chest/rib injury.
Yep.
So I guess that's what they're saying. He was hurt Monday night.
Well, it's weird. Stefanski, because they asked him why was Chubb not getting the work that everyone expected. And he goes, "Oh, he was dealing with a chest injury." Well, that was not known before the game.
And so he didn't say he suffered it in game.
It wasn't clear. Okay, it was not.
I mean,
clear.
He ripped off that 30-yard run. He looked.
He looked great, but if you saw him on the sideline, that was because if you saw the camera on him, that was because he had a chest injury, and they felt like they had a spot plan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And by the way, what is up with Kareem Hunt? I mean, I go to do the show on Monday, and I'm out there in California, so I'm out of it. And Paul Kelly's like, "Oh, Kareem Hunt limited in practice all week, so I guess he's going to play." I'm like,
that doesn't mean
I don't know, man. Yeah. So are they just shutting him down? No,
he's had this. This is like the 5th injury he's had this season, and he hasn't recovered well from it.
Yeah, I mean, again, why play him though in a meaningless?
Well, this is not right, but this is not. They love to win the game. They like to end the season well.
Yeah. Okay, so he might play.
Yeah, of course. If he's ready to go, it comes down strictly to medical. If he's cleared, he plays.
It's a little weird that he was limited all week and then ruled out. But
I don't think you understand what that means. Limited could mean very limited, or it could mean a couple reps less than normal.
Yeah,
remember I told you they don't list that. They don't tell you.
No, I you know what it is.
So just be careful of thinking any guy's limit is going to play. It doesn't work like that.
Oh no. I mean, no. I didn't even rank him or project him, even though he was limited. I didn't think he was going to play. We'll see if he goes 2 weeks with being limited and not playing. That would be a little weird, but it doesn't really matter.
It's an ankle, though.
Yeah, you're not starting him or using him, even if he does play.
I would hope not. Although this matchup, John, is pretty damn good with all these guys resting.
It could factor into your decision making process on Chubb. Assuming Chubb works on Friday, and then Kareem Hunt, if he's in or out, that would change Chubb a little bit. Green Bay and Detroit, Packers aren't really going to play their guys. Maybe a series.
Nothing to gain. I
mean, not even an AJ Dillon game either, right? It could be like a Patrick Taylor game.
Patrick Taylor from Memphis. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then Jared Goff looks like he's going to go.
It's trending better.
That way. And then Deandre Swift, I guess, had some sort of comment today about how his role will be similar to last week, where he played like half the snaps, but he got like 9 touches.
It was just weird. Yeah, he played the most snaps of all the running backs, but only got what, 6 or 7 touches. Oh, he can't. Yeah. He's not even on the injury report this week.
That's a weird one right there. And Josh Reynolds is back.
Yep.
From COVID.
Yep.
Yeah. And of course, Amon-Ra, the fantasy pharaoh, the Titans and the Texans. Greg, I know you're getting bored over there as we're doing all the information. Mm-hmm. My question is, if Derrick Henry returns to the playoffs and he's Derrick Henry, is that enough of a boost to the offense to actually give them a semblance of a passing game?
No.
Okay.
I mean, and then by the way, he will be Derrick Henry. I don't think he'll be anybody else, John.
Yeah. It won't be like Steve Henry.
No, I think he'll be Derrick Henry.
But why don't you think? But in terms of their pass game, what do you see from it?
Very little. Keep one thing in mind. Derrick Henry last year had a phenomenal year, did he not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, they got to the playoffs and they played Baltimore. Baltimore held them to about 60 yards. They scored 13 points. They need their pass game to be able to function without the run game. And their pass game, with the exception of the second half against the 49ers 2 weeks ago, when Tannehill was phenomenal on third down, their pass game has not been very good. They've got to figure out a way for the pass game to be a factor. And whether that means it needs to be a combination of things. They need to be a little more proactive throwing the ball. And by that, I mean throwing it on first down, throwing it in normal down and distance situations where they can kind of control the pass game, because the defense will be in a tendency predictable situation. And they've got to then also be able to work on third down. And right now, they're really not doing either one, and they don't really have a pass game right now. So their profile as a team is run the ball, play really good defense. Is that the profile of a team to advance deep into the playoffs?
Yeah. All comes down to Derrick Henry and the defense, of course, Adam. It's fair to say at this point that they put their eggs in Julio Jones's basket, and that basket had a hole in the bottom, and then the eggs fell through and crashed.
Yeah, that's crippled them. There's no question about it. He's going to play this week. They don't know a given week how many snaps he's going to be able to handle. Jenkins on defense didn't work today. It's the same ankle deal he's been had since early to mid December. He did miss a game. Jenkins, Jack Rabbit.
Jack Rabbit.
Yeah. He's played pretty damn well. I know they're really happy with him.
I mean, he's officially. Did he change his name to Jack Rabbit?
He did.
Yeah,
Jack Rabbit Jenkins.
Can you imagine going to like the DMV? Okay, Janoris, here's your license. Oh, it's Jack Rabbit.
Imagine being an 88-year-old man walking around named Jack Rabbit. That's on your ID. But we'll see.
We'll see if he makes it to 88, John.
Yeah, we'll see it. Yeah, true. That's true. Also, Greg, for what it's worth, how impressed have you been with Deontay Foreman? I mean, this guy came off of the Achilles. He's one of the best success stories of a running back coming off an Achilles.
Yeah, no, he's looked good the last couple of weeks. Looked good this week. It was obviously the kind of game where they could keep giving him the ball, so they were able to do that. I think he had 26 carries. That's the way the game played out. They were in control of the game. But the reality is, and I know you're just thinking of this week, John, the reality is if Derrick Henry is healthy, not for this week, but for their first playoff game, and obviously if they win this week, they're going to have a bye, so they will get another week for Derrick Henry. Deontay Foreman will just become, a running back passing in the night.
But for next year,
that's a great one.
Maybe they keep. I mean, it's a pretty good backup.
They need a handcuff because it hasn't worked out for the kid they drafted a couple years ago.
Yeah, Darrington Evans, man.
Yeah. It never worked.
Oh no, Henry. I mean, Foreman could stick around as the second back.
Yeah, they because the thing, just talking to them, the thing they're really happy with, other than the damn fumbles from he and Hilliard, is they found two younger backs, which they were looking for, who fit what they're looking for. They like Foreman's size. He fits their power profile. If Henry can't play, they've got a guy who can handle volume. That's what they learned about him. And then Hilliard with the explosion. That boy, last week was a good example of it. This is, I don't want to say they lucked into it. Who knew that Foreman?
Well, the guy who's been their third down back is Jeremy Mcnichols.
Yes.
He the guy that goes away? Because, I mean, most teams, Adam, don't play meaningfully four backs.
No, but I'm not. John and I are actually talking about what happens if Henry can't play. What's their profile?
Well, if Henry can't play, we know what their profile is.
Yeah. Now the only thing
when Henry's back, they're not going to play four backs.
No, but I'm not really talking about that. John's talking about what do they do next year. We're just kind of looking at the future because John brought up next year. Oh, the other thing about Mcnichols, the reason I'll just give you a little nugget here. The reason why they played him every once in a while, he comes in when it's not third down. It's because they think when they grade their tape that Foreman and Hilliard sometimes take negative runs, and he really shouldn't. Because they're not experienced like Mcnichols is. Though he's not as powerful as Foreman, but when they know they have to get hard yards, they cannot take 0 or negative yards. That's why Mcnichols is in there on short yardage.
He runs hard.
Yeah. Remember how explosive he was though with the Bucs?
Yeah. He's a little more physical this year.
Yeah, he's changed. He definitely has changed.
Yeah. For the Texans, Brandon Cooks, man, geez, what a year. Very impressive year for Brandon Cooks. Davis Mills, final opportunity here to show the organization that he could be their guy, and he's been real solid. He's kind of settled into this is what he is.
As you guys look ahead, they're in a fascinating situation with Davis Mills. I don't know the answer, so I'm just throwing it out there as to what they think going forward. Because if you draft a quarterback, and they're not, my guess is they're not going to draft one with their first pick. But if, let's say, you draft one in the second round, that's not a guy for the most part that if you're drafting in the second round, you think's just being drafted to be a backup. So I'll be very curious to see what they do with the quarterback position this offseason.
You could always opt to draft one while you have the capital if you like a guy, and then trade him or Davis Mills. I mean, yeah, we've seen these teams with two quarterbacks and parlay one of them. The Patriots with Jimmy G, things like that. Colts and Jaguars, and the Colts definitely have something to play for. I just don't know how much they're going to have to play Jonathan Taylor in this game. I remember this first meeting. I mean, Taylor ripped it for like 30 yards on the first damn carry.
Well, John, if they win, they're in. They can't lose here. So
no, they have to win.
When you say how much are they going to play Taylor, that game was close. And now the Jaguars have gone downhill, John, and they don't seem as competitive in recent weeks for sure. But this is not, let's just throw a few guys out there for a while and see what happens.
No, they have to win.
They got to win the game.
I understood.
Not only that, John, they haven't won in Jacksonville since, I think, 16.
I know. I remember the game, though, man. And Taylor destroyed them, and they took their foot off the gas.
They have to, but they're not. They're going all balls to the wall, man. They have to win.
Understood. Yeah, of course.
John, by the way, I watched that tape, okay?
Yeah.
I remember that game extremely well.
Yeah.
And after the first quarter of that game, Taylor broke off like a 35-yard run on the first play of the game, okay?
Yeah.
And he only ended up with 116. The final three quarters of that game, the Jacksonville front seven physically dominated the Colts offensive line. Now, I can't remember who played on the Colts offensive line because of injury and COVID, but I remember the game, and the Jaguars front group dominated the Colts O-line. So
I think it was that. You're right. It's a fair point. I mean,
again, if they go up 24-0, and it's late in the second quarter, yes, you could see them start taking people out. But I wouldn't, from your perspective, treat this game as if Jonathan Taylor's getting 7 carries.
No, I have him with 150 yards rushing on like 19 carries. He's actually.
I would go 22. I would go a little higher than that.
All right. Yeah, it's fine. We'll see. The Jags are just so brutally bad.
Which they have been recently, and maybe it'll play out that way. And like I said, maybe it'll be 24-0 in the middle of the second quarter. Who knows?
It's kind of a moot point, other than maybe DFS for our site and the projections, because I do have him as the number one running back for the week. I just only have him with 19 touches because I think it'll be a one-sided, lopsided affair, and I don't necessarily think Carson Wentz is going to have to throw much. I think he's averaging like 22 pass attempts a game, but hey, they do have something to play for. So that's good news for Michael Pittman. Greg, one thing that I just kind of throw out to Adam on the radio, by the way. Man, they really need some speed in Indy, right? I mean, they need someone to stretch that field vertically.
Yes, I think they definitely need that as they look ahead. I mean, based on this year, Adam, what's Wentz's contract situation?
Well, they're locked in him for next year, and then after that, they can get out.
All right, so Wentz is going to be the quarterback next year, and there's no reason he shouldn't be, based on what's happened this year, as we know.
Absolutely.
But John, you're right. They need some speed. They do not have. I mean, we all like Pittman. That's not the point. But they need some speed.
He's not the speed guy. He's the big physical possession type, and now you need a speed guy.
I mean, theoretically, Michael Pittman is like Michael Thomas. Theoretically,
100%.
Does he run better, Greg, than Thomas?
I think his 40 time, for whatever that means, Adam.
On tape, though. On tape. That's what I'm asking.
No, I would say they're somewhat similar.
Yeah.
But they do need speed.
But Wentz has still got a good deep arm. He's still got downfield velocity.
Look at that Doolin kid. Holy smokes, is that a throw?
Yeah, the one earlier this season. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Carson Wentz, believe it or not, that was my takeaway all off season, that I thought he would be pretty good here. The vibes were awful in the summer with all their issues.
Every once in a while, he has some throws or games where you go, what was that?
Yeah.
That's just where he's at in his career.
He's not a social media favorite. People are just waiting for him to make that one play like that Adam is speaking about, which, by the way, he can make in any given game.
Yeah, sure.
And then they just, rip him.
Yep. Well, Jaguars, Dare Ogunbowale,
God.
He's the compiler, that guy.
Good call by you. You're right. It's amazing. In total garbage time touchdown. Literally the last chance garbage time touchdown.
I know. He did that last year, too, the last couple games.
Gun.
Yeah. Bears, Vikings. I cannot believe this Fields situation. Like, I thought Here we go.
Yep.
End the season on a high note. Indoors, good matchup. A-Rob, Mooney. Nope.
He's on COVID, right? So he won't play.
Yep.
Yeah. So you know what the bottom line is? I hate to say it. It's good news for Darnell Mooney, getting Andy Dalton. I assume it's Dalton, Adam, right?
Yeah, he's his number 2 quarterback, so I would assume he would be the guy.
Yeah, and well, look at last week. Darnell Mooney was a great producer. Probably, didn't hurt that Dalton was there. So hey, at least we got that. Montgomery getting all kinds of work, obviously, and even A-Rob showed some signs of life last week, a couple of balls. But what's up with Kirky Cousins here? When are we going to learn? When's the deadline? Is it Saturday?
Well, he said he's feeling fine.
Zimmer said he's starting this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure because he's unvaccinated. I didn't know if he.
He's off. He's off the list.
Oh, he's off the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing we do know is Kellen Mond's not starting.
Oh my God! How about that?
How great was that? I mean, I was having that conversation with someone, and it said to me, "This is not high school. You're not babying kids. I mean, it was so great. When they asked him the question, and we all know Zimmer, and we know the kind of guy.
Zim, that was vintage Zim.
When they asked him about, you anxious to get a look at Kellen Mond, he goes, not particularly.
I'm seeing him every day because I see him every day.
And when he said, why not? Because I see him every day. In other words, he ain't ready to play.
Greg is no, he's a rookie, but we are talking week 17. The guy played 4 years. Like he attempted 200 more balls 4 years in a row. He's been on this team for months. Yet no, we'll play Sean Mannion, who we just signed. Like, is that an indictment on Kellen Mond?
One would think, but
yeah.
Again,
no, he's not ready, John. I put that out months ago. I guess someone quoted me. It actually might have been here. Someone said, like, I was on this, that he was even remotely close to being ready. He was seen as a total project. There was a quarterbacks coach I talked before the draft that loved him as a developmental project. He said there was a lot mechanically had to be cleaned up, but there was something intriguing about him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's big, and he runs. I remember watching him when I was watching Jay Sternberg, and I'm like, this guy's not very good. And then he ended up playing 2 more years and still not even close to ready to play.
What, a third rounder, right? It was a third rounder?
Yeah, that sounds right. Dalvin Cook, man, did he come up small last week, but you got to roll with him and all your key Vikings. Any injuries of note here for the Chicago Bears? They're going to be down anybody of note here because this could be a good finish for the Vikings.
Just a couple things. One of the reasons why their defense did so well last week is because they got a lot of guys back off the COVID list. But as far as they're
playing the Giants,
the only no, they're all healthy. How about Robert Quinn this year?
I was just going to say, how about Robert Quinn?
Incredible. He was so bad last year. He's been incredible this year.
I saw he was out of practice early in the week, but
he worked today. He's good.
And what is up with Darisaw? Is he done for the Vikings? By the way,
he's on the COVID list.
Oh crap! All right,
he didn't come back. O'Neal came back.
Here's the big one for Montgomery. Michael Pierce.
He is back off the list, but he's not. They haven't cleared him to practice yet. He didn't practice today or yesterday.
Okay, so there's a big one for Montgomery. Not the year.
He's barely played this year. That's one of the reasons why their run defense at times is bad.
The football team and the Giants, Greg. I want your full review of the Giant offense. I know you sped. You got a speeding ticket going into NFL Films on Monday morning. You have to watch the tape. I'm kidding. Literally the worst.
To watch their quarterbacks. Oh my god!
Was that the worst offensive showing for a passing game? I think I
did not watch it, so I can't.
No, the Eagle Giant game was worse, John. A couple weeks ago.
What did Glennon throw for? Did he throw for like 18 yards?
Well, he had 3 turnovers on the first 5 dropbacks.
Oh my god! Just an abomination there. Antonio Gibson. I was actually thinking maybe they'd shut him down, but he's out there limited, so they probably won't.
Look, if the hip is okay, he'll play. I mean, it's simple as that.
Yeah. Well, he's done that a lot this year where he's been limited. There were a couple times, even just a couple weeks ago, where I thought he might sit out and he didn't, but Patterson still got it done. Hospital ball, Heineke. This could be his last start for the football team. I see Diami Brown made a big play last week for like
Diami, yeah.
He's an intriguing guy for next year.
I love him for Dynasty League. I asked the receivers coach, I'm pretty close to it, if he remembered him. He goes, like, right off the bat, he gave me everything he had, and he said there were some inconsistencies to his game. He did not give him a 2. He gave him a 3. That he got drafted in the second. He gave him a 3rd-round grade. He thought that some things had to be cleaned up for him to play early on. Mm-hmm. And that may play into, other than a knee injury, which caused him to miss 2 games, that might play into why he has not been as good as we thought he would be.
Greg, Diami Brown, you don't necessarily see him as a speedster, right, in the NFL?
No, I mean, he was a vertical guy in college, but in some ways, he kind of reminded me of James Washington. I didn't think he'd be that guy in the NFL. So, he caught the 25-yard pass this week. It was a dig. Slay was over him. It was off coverage. Heineke made a really good throw with timing and ball placement. It wasn't anything Brown did. He was just running a route versus off coverage. He could have been running that same route in practice.
Right.
But he's going to be an interesting guy for next year because he was a 2nd-round pick. So they're going to expect him to be the guy opposite Terry McLaurin. And,
what do you think of that?
I think in an ideal world, would be a good role for him, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see, John, if he can win that job.
Yeah, no, we're just already starting our search.
They're pretty excited. I'll say this, talking to them privately, they're pretty excited about him.
Well, that's good.
He just needs to clean some stuff up. I'm with Greg. I'm not totally sure about that.
I'm not so sure either, but
he's got ability.
I'm sure he's a guy to keep an eye on.
He was tearing it up for a bit in training camp.
Yeah, it's a shame he couldn't make some noise this year.
Well, Cam Sims is not the guy. I know he's playing over.
He's been there for a while.
Right, that's my point. He's not the guy. And
they also have Curtis Samuel, by the way, and they ruined him.
I know
their medical staff apparently. Seahawks, Cardinals, and Greg, I don't believe you saw the Cardinal tape from last week, right?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
So where's Kyler in your mind? Because he hit a little bit of I don't want to say a rough patch, but maybe a little less efficient and all that. How did he look last week?
Well, he had 2 explosive plays. He hit Green early in the game on a stutter go versus Diggs, and then he hit Kirk later in the game for 43 yards on a deep sail. Other than that, not really much there. They ran him later in the game, and he had some runs, but I didn't think it was either here nor there. I mean, he looked okay. I mean, but he hit those 2 big ones.
Sure. Okay. And he's an interesting guy when you really think about him going forward in future. Well, I'm kind of down on him in the fantasy world. Honestly, he's been great at times, but he's also now 2 years in a row, maybe even 3. He's hit a rough patch there.
How many games did he miss this year?
Was it 3?
Who are we talking about?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he missed, I think 2 or 3. I'll look it up.
He has 28 total touchdowns. So I don't know how many more you would add to that, John, if he played the whole season.
Murray missed 3, weeks 9 through 11.
Yeah. He gets them in the numbers in bunches. That's a little bit of my point. He's had some down moments and he's been a little volatile in the fantasy world, and he'd also been dinged up the last 2 years, and he might be one of those guys that is not himself unless he's really close to 100%.
Oh, health. Yeah, maybe so.
You know who else is like that, I think, is Christian McCaffrey.
Well, he just can't play not healthy. I mean, he just simply is.
He doesn't want to play.
The guy needs pristine conditions health-wise, apparently, to play. Basically,
they're locked into him. Their contract, the one that they did a couple years ago.
I work with Dr. Mark Addix, who played in the NFL. He's a certified orthopedic surgeon. He was kind of like blown away by this as the year progressed. Like, really, you're not playing? Okay, So anyway, Seattle. At least they're playing. Their guys. Yep. Russell, Penny, DK, Lockett, Everett. Use them all.
How are you thinking about Penny for next year, John?
Well, he's a free agent.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. This is it. They didn't pick up the 5th-year option. This is the final year of the rookie deal. So Adam and I were talking, maybe because there's familiarity there. Maybe they say, "Hey, man, can you sign a lower end 2-year deal?" Right?
That's exactly, John, what Carson signed. Exactly what he signed. they could get out of it, Carson's deal, after in March, and not owe him a dime because Carson can't stay healthy. Neither could Penny. But they were telling me all last year that they could not wait to get him on the field. Then he had a setback. Every time they thought he was ready this season, he wasn't. And then you've seen when he's healthy. It's dynamic. I've not seen a guy with this kind of size move like this.
Yeah, Greg, all the fantasy numbers people, we've noticed, like, literally every time he's had in his career 13 or more touches, he basically goes off.
Right.
The
issue has always been health. He can't be
right. He's barely he just hasn't been healthy very much.
Yeah.
He was great, John. Remember before he tore his patella, how great he was? You were like, wow, finally he's doing it. And then he got
Yep. How about James Conner? I didn't see anything from him.
Still limited.
Yeah, that's not great there. I'm not sure about Chase Edmonds either. I don't know. He's a dual backfill guy.
He's got 2 injuries. So
yeah. By the way, I just noticed. You believe this? Just prejudice against left-handed people. This is actually a fantasy points coffee mug. Okay, yet you don't know that because I'm left-handed. It's an outrage. I'm outraged. By the way.
Wait, where's the logo?
Right here, man.
Oh, there it is. Okay, it turned. Okay,
this is ridiculous here. Anyway, moving on to the Saints and the Falcons. How about this Calvin Ridley story, Adam? It seems like Calvin Ridley may be on the move.
What's he doing now? What's he saying?
Well, it was announced today that it's likely that he will not be with the Falcons next year.
Right, but but what's this about? People are saying he wants to go to the Eagles. What is this about?
I just think the speculation started.
It's they definitely need to do something, and they will, but they need somebody who they know is going to actually play. You can't have someone that you don't know is going to show up after. I mean, who knows what's going on with him? You feel bad that he wasn't able to play, but it's hard to depend on a guy if you don't know what he's going to do.
He wasn't playing all that well either early on, for what it's worth. He was kind of a bust, honestly. So, you don't know what's going on with the mental health and all that. Maybe he's just sick of it. And I don't know. Who knows? But, by the way, from what you just said on the Eagles, like, I guess are we giving up on Jalen Reagor? Or what?
I don't know about that, but they're not going to sit on their laurels. They know there are two pass target offense that doesn't work. So they can't wait for Reagor anymore. This is 2 years.
Yeah. Greg, I know we're talking Saints Falcons here, but quickly, how do you grade and how do you encapsulate what Jalen Reagor's done and what his future lies based on the first 2 years? Like, I mean, it's like it's either an incomplete grade or a D-. I mean, how do you grade this?
I think there's a lot of factors involved, and we don't know what the ratio is of each factor. So
exactly,
is their offense what it is because they don't feel like the receivers are good enough? Is their offense what it is because this is what they feel Hurts is? Is their offense what it is because the strength of their team in their mind is the offensive line being a great run blocking O-line? There's a lot of things we don't know, or we can surmise and guess, but we really don't know.
I could add one thing to that. There have been times when Reagor should have gotten the ball and he didn't get it.
No question.
And you've seen snaps, Greg, on tape where he's run really good routes and gotten open.
Right. So, obviously there's been individual moments that have been poor, such as the Giants game when he dropped those 2 balls at the end. So people remember that, but this is not really a pass offense. So it's hard to know why they run this offense. And I tried to give you some reasons, but it's hard to know the full reason behind it. We can all speculate and we probably all have our own thoughts, but unless someone really tells you, you don't know that.
I mean, because they did kind of change the offense up after 4, 5, 6 weeks.
That I could tell you why, because when they asked him to throw the ball 35 times a game through 7 weeks, it wasn't working. Didn't
go well. For the Falcons, Cordero has really, really leveled off, and it's a bad matchup for him. Though we might get Kyle Pitts Mr. Caplan.
He's got a chance. I mean, they're not counting on it, but he's got a chance to play. Yes.
I mean, he's within striking distance of the all-time record, actually, for a tight end.
He did some work today, which they were happy about.
What is his injury?
Hamstring.
No.
Yeah. And when it happened, Doc Addicks looked at the tape, and it didn't seem like really bad to him. So that is in line, the fact that he may play with Doc's immediate reaction to that injury. Taysom Hill, obviously getting the nod there. Kamara you're using, and then Callaway's basically been there one, so you can certainly use him. Jets, Bills, and I must admit I'm kind of rooting for Zach Wilson. I don't even know why, but Greg, we are starting to see a little bit of progress here from Zach Wilson, correct?
I thought he had his best game last week. He was much more settled in the pocket. It seemed to slow down a little bit for him. He was much more decisive with his reads and his throws. Still, of course, has a tendency at times to play a little fast when people get around him. But I thought for the most part, he played, and I mentioned this to you last night, the way I described it was he played with more awareness of and understanding of what can be done, what can't be done, and the game situation. And therefore, he was less reckless and undisciplined. So
with more reps and more years and, more the passage of time, assuming a kid's working his ass off and the situation around him improves, it could be pretty good. I mean, when you think about it, Becton's missed most of the year. Elijah Vera Tucker's been out for a period of time, right?
He played this week. He played this past week.
Yeah. No great running game of note, although I do like Michael Carter. That's a guy in Zach Wilson who would throw it to a big-bodied tight end all day long if he could between the numbers, I feel.
Yeah, I agree, John. They need to address running back still, though. They need a back with size to complement Carter a little bit. And
but Carter is a player now.
He is. I understand. I mean, he can catch the ball, but they could use someone with size there too. And tight end, you're right. They still need to continue to address the offensive line, the tackle, the other tackle. And I could tell you they're very happy with Wilson's work ethic. They despite his struggles, he's had the right attitude. He's very coachable.
That's great. That really is.
It is, because some guys, as you know, John, we've been talking for 18, 19 years, but some guys who are unbelievably gifted who are not very coachable, they never make it.
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, you could not just make this the Zach Wilson podcast, but you could really envision, and I believe they got 2 number 1 picks, I believe.
One of them should be for Jamal Adams. Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, you could visualize them, taking like a blue chipper type on the O-line for the right side and acquiring a tight end, and then you get Corey Davis back and Elijah Moore, and you're like, it's not bad.
Yeah, they need help on defense, major help.
We don't give a crap about defense.
I know, but it would help. It would help though. It would just help.
That's true.
A little bit more balance to what they do.
Stay ahead of the down.
They're almost not. I mean, some weeks they're just not competitive on defense. They just don't have any players.
I thought that times, though, Greg, they were pretty good
in the middle. Yeah, in the middle.
The Jet D, but I kind of feel like they're on the right track there. And I've never been. I'm always first to just dismiss the Jets. The Bills, and they do have something to play for.
Bills got to win. If they win the division.
Yeah, because New England and them are playing at the same time. So we're good there. Singletary, I mean, it's over. Like, Singletary's your lead back in Buffalo. Finally, Greg.
Yeah. This was the first game, John, where they ran the ball meaningfully. And by that, I mean, it was a 1-score game in the second half, and they ran the ball. And, I don't know if it was a weather situation. Obviously, there was some snow on the ground. But they truly ran the ball. And they actually had a pretty multiple run game with their concepts. It looked like an NFL run game.
Yeah. Falcon D did a pretty good job against Josh Allen. They really did. Like, I don't know if you saw that. You saw the tape, right?
I did see the tape.
It seemed like guys were covered, by.
I don't know how easy it was to throw in that weather, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, 2 of the interceptions were not on him.
They were batted balls, kind of.
Yeah. So, but I didn't think he played overly well, overall.
Yeah. Niners, Rams, and Adam, it's Thursday evening. Jimmy G continues to be limited. Are we trending toward Jimmy G?
Well, he's got a chance because it's it's going to be medical clearance, and the big one is pain tolerance, because he apparently, he's throwing in practice now, and he said he's in a tremendous amount of pain, but he's able to grip and throw it. He's got a chance to play. I don't know if he'll finish the game if he plays, but he's got a chance.
Yeah, and Greg, give us your thoughts on, Trey Lance last week. Kyle Shanahan said that he's really improved measurably since that week 5 start. Did you see any signs of that on tape? And if you were Kyle Shanahan, knowing what you know about these guys, who would you rather go with? I feel like Kyle, I'm guessing, would want to, like, he believes in his system. He'd probably trust Jimmy to run that system a little bit more.
I would agree with that. I thought Lance settled in nicely last week. Slow start, settled in. You knew immediately by how they ran their offense that Kyle Shanahan felt a lot more comfortable with Trey Lance, because when he started week 5, there were a ton, John, as we spoke, of designed runs. You saw hardly any designed runs this week because he clearly trusted him more after 2.5 months of practice and everything that goes with that. He trusted him to run the offense, and they ran plays that they run. The Samuel touchdown was a play they've run many times. It's one of their shot play concepts. You saw him throw the ball between the numbers, plays they run all the time. So they ran the 49ers passing game with Trey Lance.
I can't recall if they did anything special against Debo with Ramsey. It could just simply be a function of who they've played lately, but it does seem like Ramsey is doing a little bit more shadowing, a little bit more traveling.
A little more, a little more.
Yeah. You think that's
not
a
enough
function?
Where I would say, hey, he's a matchup corner, but a little more. Yes.
You think that's a function maybe of who they've played?
For sure. Sure.
Yeah, because it's you're talking Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf, and I don't know if he was traveling on Hollywood last week. Maybe so. I did see him.
They could put him on Debo at times. I would be surprised if it's a head-to-head matchup, 80% of the time. I would not expect that, John.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
For the Rams, Adam, is we're going to get 4 or 5 carries out of Cam Akers in this game.
He's going to work. He's going to play. Yeah, he's going to play. He looks good. They actually knew a month ago that there was a chance of this. Someone told me, like, they were kind of, obviously they've tracked it because they have access to him and all the rehab. When I say they knew he was going to play, it was either going to be week 1 or 2 of the playoffs. I don't know if they could say it would be this week. And their plan 2 weeks ago was not to play him this week, but he's looked so good. I think what coaches will tell you and medical staffs, if the player looks normal and he's cleared medically, what are you holding him back for? And it's on your point. Get him. You just get him ready. Get him used to playing, coming back.
Him up.
Yeah, this is what, like, I don't think Derrick Henry needs to play, though they haven't ruled it out. I don't think he needs to play, especially if they can have the bye. Here, it's just because this is the players don't come back from Achilles injuries so soon. See what it looks like when he's got to plant that foot and turn it in a where you can get tackled because you can't tackle in practice. This is very unique.
Greg, I don't know if you remember the first matchup, but Stafford was 26 of 41 for 243, which is not great. 5.9 yards an attempt, 1 touchdown he threw, 2 interceptions. So you probably don't have any brilliant thoughts on it because Stafford is one of these guys, but for whatever reason, sometimes, there's like a mental block and he, makes a bad decision or just has a bad day. That's been prevalent this year. He is a little, I don't say tough to trust, but lately I'm like, okay, let me turn on the Ram game and see how Stafford's playing today.
Well, that's become the narrative, John, but I would respond by saying, what's their record?
They are 12-4.
And how many touchdowns has Stafford thrown this year?
38.
38.
So
it's pretty good.
Well, I understand that point. And, I found out something today about one of his interceptions from this week about a receiver running an absolute wrong route. So, when you find out those things, it makes you rethink some things. So I think there's a narrative that's grown around Stafford, which stems from the narrative that's already existed about Stafford not winning quote unquote big games and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's very easy when he makes a bad throw to jump right back into the already preconceived narrative instead of saying, wow, this guy makes a lot of really good throws too. So,
Oh, we're spoiled.
We love Stafford, but let me ask you this: did you see the Viking tape 2 weeks ago? In terms of the picks, because he had 3
he's thrown 6 picks in his last 3. That's
that does surprise me because he's not a guy who would normally do that.
Right. So again, but picks, I've always believed you have to judge each one individually, evaluate each one individually, and you have to know why it happened. And picks are not just a number on a page. Like I said, I found out about one of them this week, and which was not on him, although it looked horrible. Again, just to get back to that Week 10 matchup between the 49ers and the Rams, John, that was a game in which the 49ers physically manhandled the Rams on both sides of the ball. The 49ers had 44 rushing attempts for 156 yards in that game. Garoppolo, I believe, only threw 19 balls in the game. They physically manhandled them on both sides of the ball.
It'll happen. That Ram line is pretty cohesive, but they're not just big physical group.
The Rams only have again, not that you spend a lot. I'm sorry, Adam, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Not that we're spending a lot of time on defense, but 2 guys on the 49ers D line that have played really well over the last month. We obviously all know about Bosa. Are Arden Key and Samson Ebukam. They played really well over
Arden Key. Wow, that's right. You told us.
Ebukam, the former Ram.
Yeah. But Arden Key's the big one because he didn't work out at all for the Raiders. Yeah, and the Niners because of
they have a D line coach that's thought of extremely highly.
Oh, Chris Kusarik. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's really good. But, well, here's what happened. He was either going to the Eagles with Schwartz when Schwartz got the job. When he left wherever he was before, might have been Detroit. Yeah, I think it was Detroit. And he went to the Niners instead. It was either or.
He's considered a really good O-line coach.
High energy, super high energy guy. Yeah, he's great.
Let's go to Patriots, Dolphins. Greg and I did the podcast, and we did talk about Tua. And, he's a tough one. I'd like to make start considering definitive statements on Tua, dipping into next year by the time we get into year 3. But, Greg brought up the lack of the running game, and I would also bring up the lack of the pass protection. So, I mean, it's tough to grade the guy, but, not a great spot for him here. I mean, it feels like the Patriots, they when they have a quarterback who's got some deficiencies, Greg, like they seem to home in on those and really make it tough.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say that's fair for sure. When Tua, as you and I discussed last night, as you look ahead to the future, John, next year, because it's not so easy just to say, oh, let's get a quarterback. Fans think that way. Oh, we need another quarterback. Well, they don't just fall out of the sky. So my guess is he'll be the quarterback. And I think his traits and attributes won't change.
Yeah.
But I think a true evaluation of him from a fantasy perspective, I'm talking fantasy purely now, will really depend if they can get some kind of meaningful run game.
Yeah. It's fantasy, but it's also probably reality. Like the guy, look, he needs some help here. Drew Brees was never going to do it all on his own, given the fact that he's like 5'10", without a big arm.
Well, right. I mean, in an ideal world, Tua, develops to where he can become that kind of player, because that's what he'd have to be a really good NFL quarterback, that style of player. He's certainly not there yet.
Yeah, and the O-line stinks. I saw that.
The thing is they've addressed the O-line. The players haven't worked out.
They were so sure, John, talking to some there before the season started, they were so sure that they finally got it right, and it hasn't happened.
And by the way, they could get it right with another year. You don't know that.
But the Patriots, they know that the O-line stinks. So, I mean, they're going to put some pressure here.
I think it's a little harsh, but it's not been what they thought.
That Barmore kid, man, Greg, that is a grown man, that kid. Christian Barmore. Ooh. Is he?
You're talking about for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's played well this year, too.
I mean,
he's been a really a good player for them as a rookie. He fits the Belichick mold of being able to line up in multiple D-line positions.
Mm-hmm. And then Judon's been great too. Really fit in really well there.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they put J.C. Jackson on Parker outside.
They
I
will.
guess
They normally. Jackson is one of the few guys, John. I know you ask me this every week about corners, and I know in your world you'd like it to be a case where corners match up regularly, which does not happen that much in the NFL these days. But Jackson is one of those guys.
That's why we cling to it and hang on for dear life when we can,
because it doesn't happen very often.
I'm a big hat hanger. I love hanging the hat, maybe, certainly good news for Waddle here. New England has been a little sketchy covering slot receivers. So I'm sure Tua will throw it to Waddle. No running game of note. I was going to say, I remember watching the first preseason game. Remember that game where Malcolm Brown started and it made up a big, it was like a Saturday afternoon. And I'm like, I turn on the game. I'm like, here we go. It was a beautiful day. And I'm watching this crap, and the O-line was just brutal. I was like, geez. And there it was, harbinger of things to come.
Yeah, and he should have been back. So I don't know what happened to him because he's been practicing for nearly 3 weeks. Their plan was never for Duke Johnson to be the guy. But remember, I was telling you Monday, Myles Gaskin, had he not gone on the COVID list, would be the guy. And then now they've discovered Duke Johnson.
Yeah, that Will Fuller situation, like what the hell?
I don't know. Yeah.
That's bizarre. And then the Patriots, they're almost impossible to break down because unless the Dolphins can put up a fight, I mean, Mac Jones, Greg has thrown it 27 times, if that,
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the nature of the game. Look, obviously, if the Patriots go ahead, they'll run the ball, and Mac Jones won't put up, quote-unquote, big numbers.
Yeah. And it's interesting to differentiate those two backs. I mean, I prefer Ramondre, but I'm not saying Harris is bad. I mean, he's good. I just think Ramondre is a little overall better.
That. They love the power. They like a back who could handle a lot of volume, who's downhill, thumper. Now, it doesn't mean they like Stevenson as well. They like the two-man backfield. It seems to work. And Harris
is a good back.
He's a good player, man.
Yeah, but would you use the word thumper to describe Harris, Greg?
He runs hard.
I would say he's physical and competitive, John.
Yeah.
Thumper is, one of those kind of old school words, but I would say that Harris is a physical, competitive, urgent runner.
Urgent, yeah. Stevenson's a little more methodical, kind of maybe a little more patient.
More so, I would say. I think that's fair.
He's got some velocity. He can move.
I mean, you could argue he's a thumper. Almost.
He's not small either.
No, not at all. Not the traditional thumper. They don't have a thumper.
I got you.
Alrighty. And then Carolina and Tampa. And, I did a radio spot with Charlie Weiss this morning and asked him about Cyril Grayson. And he's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, feels like Tom should throw him 10 balls this week as he kind of did last week. And he's like, oh, yeah. So that's
might be, by the way, you might be lining up at a receiver for Carolina. They're down there. They might be down 3 receivers this week, and corners are down to 2 corners. So they're a total mess.
Well, I didn't realize it was that dire. What is going on at wide receiver?
Robbie's got a quadriceps injury. Terrace Marshall's out. He's on injured reserve. So Shi
Smith is out.
Yeah, he's on COVID. So they're down. Actually, technically, could be down 4 out of 5.
Well, they are down Gilmore again.
Yep. He's now corner. Yes, Gilmore. Henderson's got a knee issue. He had 2 injuries. He's now got 1. Gilmore's not playing this week. And yeah, they also lost.
Terrace Marshall is one of the weirdest seasons I've seen in a little while here. Like it's like I forgot he existed for like a month.
They think, I'm going to be nice about this. Let's just say that the former OC had trouble getting him the ball.
Okay. All right. So we're not giving up on Terrace Marshall.
No, I would not.
Okay. I mean, he's out there running routes. The other guy is
I'm not saying he's perfect either, but I'm just telling you.
Okay.
There was a reason why they moved on.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good because I thought he looked good early on, Terrace Marshall. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. What is up with Ron Jones and Keyshawn Vaughan? I'm very intrigued by Keyshawn Vaughan.
He said he's going to. Bruce said he's fine. He was on the sideline for a bit because they had to figure out what was wrong with his ribs. Turned out to be bruised ribs. He's fine, and they don't know. They have no idea if they're going to have Jones. My sense is Jones won't play.
Yeah, I mean he's out of practice.
Yeah.
So in theory, Adam, they could let Jones and Leonard go because they're both free agents, right?
Yes.
Ron is. Ronald
Yes.
Jones is.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think Fournette's signed for next season. I'll double check, but I don't think.
Yeah, check on that. But Greg, Keyshawn Vaughan, I know he's not overly talented, but I mean,
he's pretty good.
I know.
I mean,
no, okay, good. No, I like
yeah,
him too. I'm saying he's not like Jonathan Taylor or
but
Javonte Williams, but he's
would say
good.
that.
I like him.
Yeah. No one would say that, but I think Keyshawn Vaughn is a good back. I liked him coming out of college. Again, I don't think he's a feature back in the sense of what you're thinking, John. But
yeah,
I think for a game or two, he could be.
Yeah,
he's got some juice, by the way. A little juice.
Yeah. I mean,
he's smooth too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, that whole situation in Tampa is kind of weird to me, but Keyshawn Vaughn has ability.
Fournette's up. Yes, John. To answer your question, his contract is up.
There you go. I mean, we
could be the last man standing. In fact, okay, they have 5 running backs under contract currently. They're all Fournette, Jones, Giovanni Bernard, and Bell are up after the season.
Well, again, if you're in some sort of dynasty league, he should be owned, obviously.
They had some trust issues with him just in terms of carrying out assignments and all that, but so far so good. Bruce loves to point out when guys drop. I guess he had a drop a couple weeks ago, but he could be the last man. You're right. He could be next year.
I sat down with him at the combine, and I liked him. He's a very serious guy. Like he's all business kind of a guy. I could see him fitting in well with Bruce. Just what do I know? But just a gut call there. Chargers Raiders.
Ooh, this will be a fun one.
This will be big. Fun. Which perennial disappointment will be the one to disappoint us? Basically?
You can't trust the Chargers in any spot. They're so much more talented than the Raiders. I'll be fascinated. The Raiders have like 17 players on the injury report.
Oh God! Well,
the only one that they know is not going to play, mostly not this matters, but it does for the run defense. Jonathan Hankins probably will not play. He's got this lingering back injury. But Waller, it's going to come down. Like I told you to start the week, it's going to come down to tomorrow. The back issue is not an issue anymore. It's the knee, and they've babied him just to get him through practice. He's got a shot. We'll know more tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that hurts any Zay Jones sleeper appeal.
How about Zay Jones, huh?
Yeah, well, Carr's always loved him. I mean, remember he was talking him up last summer?
So did I, and he totally disappointed. But their coaches think he's super competitive. He just, remember he had problems in Buffalo getting out of his own way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there was an off the field thing there. Yeah. Hunter Renfrow is amazing. Josh Jacobs, I think, has looked pretty good lately.
Yeah. How about that?
Josh Jacobs has looked very good.
Very good. Like where the hell did that come from? Good, last couple of games here. But and then for the Chargers, hey, start them if you got them. You're not, you're going with these guys. Big Mike. Although, what is the COVID situation for the Raiders in the secondary? Because this could be great news for.
Well, they got a couple guys back last week.
And then Nate Hobbs, is he playing?
Yeah, they say he's playing. Yeah, they said he's playing.
Wow.
Trayvon Mullen is back, right?
Yep, the only one. Yeah, in fact, everyone came back last week.
That's no one. No. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the big one is Hayward. He's back.
Yep, he played.
Okay, right. Okay.
No, Zay Jones is their boundary corner, and Haywood is their field corner.
No, Mullen is on IR. He's done. That's why Faison and
Mullen. Are you sure?
I'm sure. Faison started last week. I'm 99.99% sure.
I thought I read that he was back.
I don't think so. I'll look at my notes. I'd be very
check that because I thought I read he was back.
Oh, I thought you said he played last week.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
No.
Well, he was activated.
Oh no. He's back on the IR. You're right.
Yeah, he's got a toe injury. He's on injury reserve. He was put on IR too. He can't be. Well, actually, he could technically be cleared this week, but he has not been, so he's not playing.
Yes.
Yeah, what I'm looking at says he was activated December 21st, but he must have just been replaced.
No, he's done. No, here's the problem. He's on IR for the second time. He cannot come back.
He cannot come back.
Yeah. Abrams done too. So Mayrig, however you say it.
Morig?
Yeah, but there's a certain way he says it. It's not Morig like we thought.
Morig, yeah.
But anyway.
Moyorig.
I don't know.
And then there was one other. Cookie, Mr. Cookie, Jared Cook, out last week.
Yeah, he hasn't been cleared yet.
Yeah. Okay. So
Derwin James will play. Derwin James will play. The only players they're worried about.
Corey Linsley.
Lindsey got hurt, but he's got a chance to play. Parham's not playing. He's done.
Yeah.
Right. Cook will likely get cleared. These guys seem to get cleared.
Yeah.
Let me see if he might have been cleared today. Let me just double check. Yeah, he was okay. He was cleared. He just a matter of how he feels.
Mm-hmm.
He actually came off the COVID list yesterday.
Cook did, right?
Yes, he just has to give thumbs up to play.
That's what I thought. Yeah, but he's cleared. Yeah.
Raiders have been bad against tight ends. Good matchup for tight ends if you need someone. I still can't believe Foster Moreau did so well this week, but what are you going to do? Derek Carr doesn't look for him, doesn't trust him, whatever. I mean, he's not Darren Waller.
This could be it for Derek Carr. Contract's up after 22, but you might have, depending on who's running the show, we'll see.
I mean, he's got to win like a leadership award at quarterback because it feels like he's kind of like a coach here. He's kind of been holding this together as the quarterback.
I think, John, you're right on. When you and I have debated Derek Carr over the years, I think I've kind of settled into kind of knowing what he is behind the scenes. He's a great guy, but there's he just comes up short sometimes, but he should, and that's part of the reason why he frustrates coaches. Yeah, Greg's pointed it out. You don't pull the trigger when he should. Nobody knows why. They've every coach has worked with him to try to reach him. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, he is Aaron Rodgers light,
talented. Oh yeah, I get it. Talented is all hell, but
I love when I think Greg made that comment, and I saw it too, and I'm like, I used it too, and then people were like, "You're insane!" Until James Jones played for the Raiders and said that Derek Carr was baby A-Rod.
Did he say that? Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That's a wrap here. Good luck to everybody still playing. This has been the conclusion of the regular season here, the Fantasy Points matchup live stream, but we will continue in the postseason. Me, Greg, and Adam will convene every Thursday night for 35, 40 minutes, and we'll break down all the matchups to help out all of our loyal customers here at fantasypoints.com. And hopefully you just pay off your subscription with a pick or two, and boom, that's what it's all about. So we thank Ben Kukanis for all his efforts, Mr. Dad over there, all year long in the regular season. Not that we're leaving. We'll be back next week, but that'll wrap it up here. Good luck this week. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you next week.